Yeah, boss. I rock with you if you rock with me. Subscribe is the vibe, man. We back with another one, bruh. Yo, the season's over, bruh. We got a couple of shockers, a couple of bangers, a couple of surprises. There are a couple of things that I ain't gonna front, bro. I pride myself on low-key being like a football savant. You feel me? I tend to not get thrown off or be surprised by things that happen throughout the NFL season. I mean, but you always gotta leave a couple of room for the things that go off script. You know what I'm saying? Like Derek Carr crashed predictably. He flamed out in Vegas. He about to get traded. Yo, bro, I don't hear enough people talking about this whole Russell Wilson joint, bro. I know we took our foot off his neck because the season's over. But, bro, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? I'm talking about every single time we saw Russell Wilson drop back.
Hell no. Trash ass nigga.
Filthy work. Filthy work, bro. Like, even I didn't see that coming, bro. You know what I mean? Like, there was a couple of moves like Geno making it to the playoffs. Like, huh? Like the season was completely flipped on top of his head. Dallas making it far. Tampa looking trash this year after going to the, what was the NFC title game last year? There were a couple of surprises. Purdy. San Fran going to the NFC title game with a third-string quarterback. Really? I know quarterbacks making $20 million that ain't come close. A la Derek Carr crash. You know what I'm saying? So we got 10 of the biggest surprises of the 2022 season, NFL season. You know what I mean? Subscribe is the vibe, bro. Let's check out this video. Let me see if I left
He's
out
always full of surprises.
A lot of people looking for that Brock Purdy jersey. The jerseys have been flying off the shelves as fast as our retail team can make them.
The Trey Lance ones are all in stock.
Damn. Trey. That kind of hurt, big dog. Ain't nobody buying your jerseys?
This year had a few more pleasant surprises than we're used to. So today, here are the 10 biggest surprises of the 2022 NFL regular season. And a big shout out to Osaya Dunk 6923 for suggesting this video. Jacksonville Jaguars surge to AFC South crown. It's hard to believe now, but less than a year ago, everyone was critiquing the Jaguars' offseason moves. $72 million to Christian Kirk, $24 million to Zay Jones, keeping GM Trent Baalke when it was clear that most coaching candidates had no desire to work with him. Well, so much for all that. Turns out this longtime dysfunctional organization knew what they were doing all along. Jacksonville stood at 2-6, and 4 weeks later, they were still just 4-8. But Trevor Lawrence has made some progress under new head coach Doug Peterson. So even though things were far from great in Duval County, it was at least nice to see T-Law make some progress with Urban Meyer now long gone.
Nah, them boys
but
did their
then,
thing.
two things happened. The Tennessee Titans collapsed and lost their final 7 games to miss out on what should have been.
Tennessee lost their last 7 games? Oh, them boys is trash, bro. Their last 7? I ain't gonna front. Look at this stretch, though. Bengals, Eagles, Jacksonville division game, Chargers. You lose to Houston. Come on, bro. Cowboys and Jags again. Damn, that's rough.
An easy division title, and at the same time, the Jaguars won their final 5 games. Jacksonville beat Tennessee in a winner-go-home game in Week 18 to clinch their first division title since 2017. Kirk notched the first 1,000-yard season of his career, and Jones tuned in a career year with 82 receptions for 823 yards and 5 touchdowns. From a broken franchise, AFC South champs, the Jaguars mastered the art of the rapid turnaround, and the future has never looked brighter for this franchise. Geno Smith. The NFL world could not help but scoff at the Seattle Seahawks when they decided to roll into training camp with Geno Smith and Drew Lock as their quarterbacks. Seattle, of course, traded away former franchise star Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos, with Lock coming into the Hawks as a part of the return. Well, let's just say that Pete Carroll reminded us why he is a Hall of Fame head coach. While GM John Schneider aced the 2022 draft by nabbing Charles Cross, Abraham Lucas, Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant, and Kenneth Walker III, Carroll was busy turning Smith into a Pro Bowler for the first time at age 32. Smith's last season as a starting QB was way back in 2014 with the New York Jets. He spent the previous 3 years backing up Wilson, and needless to say, the long wait turned out to be well worth it. Smith led Seattle to the playoffs with a career year, completing 69.8% of his pass attempts for 4,282 yards and 30 touchdowns against 11 interceptions. Smith played with so much poise and confidence under Carroll, all while Wilson was busy stinking it up with his first year with the Broncos. Smith's play helped Seattle sneak in as the NFC's final playoff team following a one-year absence from the postseason. A big congrats to Geno, as the lovable QB has certainly bought himself several more years as a starter in this league.
You gonna get paid.
The New York Giants. When the Giants hired Joe Schoen as their new GM and Brian Daboll as their new head coach, it was a sigh of relief for Big Blue fans. Dave Gettleman wasn't cutting it as GM, and Joe Judge was a disaster as head coach. Schoen and Daboll were supposed to begin a major rebuild in 2022. Schoen avoided expensive free agent signings and moved on from some of Gettleman's pricey pickups, including Kyle Rudolph, Logan Ryan, James Bradbury, and Blake Martinez. With a roster that was seemingly lacking in talent, Daboll and the Giants weren't supposed to be this good in 2022. But you know, good is exactly what the G-Men were in year one under their new GM and head coach. For starters, Saquon Barkley stayed healthy and posted a career-high 1,312 rushing yards to go along with 10 rushing touchdowns. Daniel Jones had a career-best 67.2 completion percentage, and, most importantly, he eliminated his habit of bad turnovers, throwing just 5 interceptions on the year. Andrew Thomas spearheaded the turnaround on the offensive line, earning a second-team All-Pro nod. And the bend-don't-break defense came up with big plays to help the G-Men squeak out all those tight one-score victories. And the result? A 9-7-1 record, which was good for the NFC's second wildcard spot. The Giants qualified for the postseason for just the second time since their Super Bowl 46 championship in the 2011 season. Is it just us, or was this a pretty good first-year showing by Schoen and Daboll? Finally, this once proud franchise is relevant again following a decade of misery. New York Jets turnaround on defense. The Jets won 7 of their first 11 games before a 6-game losing skid to close out the season wiped out their playoff hopes. The awful quarterback play was simply too much to overcome. But please, let us not overlook the impressive turnaround of Robert Saleh's defensive group in 1 year. In 2021, the Jets had the NFL's worst scoring defense and total defense. But led by the arrival of superstar rookie corner Sauce Gardner, the Jets D went from the NFL's worst to a top 5 unit. They allowed the 4th fewest yards and the 4th fewest points, and they ranked the 3rd against the pass. Aside from Gardner's all-world play as a rookie, the Jets got a career year from Quinnen Williams, who posted 12 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Carl Lawson chipped in with 7 sacks of his own, while offseason pickups DJ Reed and Gordon Whitehead added more steady play in the secondary. It was a pretty brutal second-half collapse for the Jets, but it's awfully impressive how this defense turned things around so quickly in just 1 year. It is something that none of us saw coming. Now, if they could just find a suitable quarterback.
Oh, he did make
Justin Fields' breakout season. The Bears O-line allowed 58 sacks. Cole Kmet was their leading receiver with 50 receptions for a mere 544 yards. The defense allowed an NFL worst 27.2 points per game. Oh, and the Bears won the first overall pick by finishing with an NFL worst record of 3-14. Yeah, in other words, Justin Fields should have had an awful sophomore season. And we wouldn't have blamed him for it. The supporting cast around him was just horrible. But no, the number 11 pick of the 2021 draft instead turned in a breakout season. 2,242 passing yards, 17 touchdowns against 11 interceptions. And, oh yeah, 1,143 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. It is not easy piecing together a breakout year with no good pass catchers, an O-line made of duct tape, and a defense that can't stop a nosebleed. The fact that Fields could overcome all these obstacles and turn in an almost record-breaking season is nothing short of incredible. All the Bears have to do now is get him an offensive line, 2 stud pass catchers, and, well, a defense. And just like that, the organization will be on their way. Pittsburgh Steelers keeping the streak alive. And nobody would have faulted Mike Tomlin if the Steelers recorded their first losing season since 2003. Ben Roethlisberger retired, which left them relying on Mitch Trubisky and rookie Kenny Pickett at quarterback. And their division feature.
Pittsburgh, please don't bring back Mitch Trubisky. I think the NFL's had enough. Football fans have suffered enough. This dude is basura, bro. I cannot take another season of even pronouncing his name, son. Please do not bring this guy back. Shame on y'all for giving him, I think y'all signed him to a 2-year, $30 million deal. Shame on y'all, bro. Like, please, 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 please. I'm not even a fan of Pittsburgh. When I'm reacting to these games, I just can't watch this dude play. He cannot play the quarterback position, bro. He cannot. The fact that this dude made $15 million last year is egregious, bro. It's egregious. Y'all just donating money to bums. Don't bring Trubisky back. Lord, have mercy on your fan base.
3 other playoff hopefuls. Losing reigning Defensive Player of the Year TJ Watt for 7 games should have been the dagger, as Pittsburgh stood at 2-6 through 8 games, and they were 5-8 with only 4
2-6.
contests to go. Finally, this streak was ending. Right? Well,
Nope.
wrong. The defense allowed just 53 total points over their final 4 games, and on offense, Pickett, Najee Harris, and George Pickens did just enough to help Pittsburgh squeak out a 4-game win streak
Trash
to end
ass
the year.
Raiders.
Pittsburgh finished 9-8 and only missed out on the postseason
Baltimore
due to a
with
tiebreaker
no
with the
Lamar.
Miami Dolphins. Wasn't this supposed to be a painful rebuilding year in Steel City? Not sure about you, but to us, 9 wins is pretty impressive for a rebuilding team. Seems like the Steelers are ready to return to long-term title contention once again, beginning in 2023. The Detroit Lions. The Lions were football's second worst team of 2021, garnering a 3-13-1 record.
were respectable
So,
this
I
year.
mean, we all did figure that they'd maybe improve that win total in 2022, but we did not expect by as much as they actually did. Detroit lost 6 of its first 7 games before rallying for 3 straight Ws.
6 of his first 7 games, so they were 1-6. Yo, at least they turned it around, but my goodness, bro. Detroit just, they struggle to get that stench off their uniforms, bro. They struggle. 1-6.
A Thanksgiving Day loss to the Buffalo Bills dropped them to 4-7 on the year, seemingly putting an end to their playoff hopes. But Dan Campbell's scrappy team
Good
never
coaching.
gave up and beat 2 playoff teams in Jacksonville and the Minnesota Vikings. And a Week 15 comeback win over the Jets moved Detroit to 500, keeping
then
them
beat Rodgers.
very much alive in the postseason race. The Lions fell to the Carolina Panthers in Week 16, but they closed out the season on a 2-game winning streak. That was highlighted by a Week 18 win over Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, which prevented their division rivals from snagging the final playoff spot in the NFC. Jared Goff played so good that the Lions have endorsed him as their starter in 2023. So much for being a bridge QB. Jamal Williams became Detroit's first 1,000-yard rusher since Reggie Bush 9 years earlier, and he led the NFL with 17 rushing scores.
Over
Rookie
Swift.
Aiden Hutchinson led the way on defense with 9.5 sacks, providing a glimpse of what's to come on that new-look Detroit defense. Their 9-8 record marked the Lions' first winning season since 2017. They barely missed out on the postseason, but they definitely took some pleasure in ending the Packers' own playoff dreams at Lambeau Field. No NFC North club is better suited to dominate long-term than Dan Campbell's Lions. This is a feel-good team that we can all get behind. Cooper
Oh,
Rush
no.
saves the Cowboys season. The Dallas Cowboys season sort of looked over in Week 1. They put up no fight against Tom Brady's Bucks.
What a
in
long
Week-
season, bro. I'm not even going to hold you. I completely forgot that Cooper Rush took over the first, 5 weeks of the season after Dak had, messed up his hand. I thought that was last year, bro. What a long-ass season it was for the Cowboys, bro. Y'all always got mad drama and no chips, but
Week 1,
Not again,
losing
though.
19-3 at home. And worse yet, Dak Prescott suffered a thumb injury in that game, which kept him sidelined for 5 weeks. All hope looked completely lost until backup Cooper Rush stepped in and kept America's
Nah, he
team
did his
together.
thing.
He led them to an upset win over the reigning AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals in Week 2. That would be the first of 4 straight wins for Dallas under Rush. He went 4-1 as a Cowboy starter, throwing for 1,051 yards and 5 touchdowns against just 3 picks. Dallas finished 12-5 and easily secured a playoff spot, just barely finishing behind the division rival Eagles for top spot in the NFC. Who would have thought that a 29-year-old with 1 career start would keep Dallas alive while Prescott was sidelined? What a story in Big D. Josh Jacobs wins the rushing title.
Bruh.
Coming into 2022, the
I
Las
ain't see
Vegas
this one
Raiders star
coming.
running back never exceeded 1,200 rushing yards.
No,
His
I
production
ain't see
was
this coming.
consistent as a runner, but Jacobs was never viewed as someone who would challenge the likes of Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, or Jonathan Taylor for the run.
Bro, they had Josh Jacobs playing in preseason. They had him playing the first game of the preseason, bro. The Hall of Fame game. You know the game where no starters ever play? It's the Hall of Fame game. It's the first game of preseason. Nobody really plays that shit, bro. We're not risking injuries. They had him playing the first game of preseason. You know what I mean? They was just going to use him, work him out, and then cut him. This dude ends up winning the Russian title? I ain't see that coming. That was impressive.
Rushing title. Overall, 2022 was an awfully disappointing season in Sin City, but not because of Jacobs. I mean, he led the NFL with 1,653 rushing yards.
What?
Oh, and the complaints about how he doesn't do much as a pass catcher, well, you can put those to bed because Jacobs had a career-high 400 receiving yards. Nobody thought Jacobs would be a top 5 rusher this year, let alone the NFL's leading rusher, especially after the Raiders added Devontae Adams in the offseason.
Yeah.
But the Alabama product tuned in a career year, winning his first ever
Alabama?
rushing title while setting himself up for a massive payday. Well done, kid. Mr. Irrelevant is actually Mr. Very Relevant. The San Francisco 49ers lost starting
Gotta be
QB
number
Trey
one.
Lance for the season in Week 2 with an ankle injury. Jimmy G suffered a foot injury in Week 13 against the Miami Dolphins and was initially ruled out for the rest of the year. So the 49ers had no choice but to roll with third stringer Brock Purdy, the final pick of the 2022 draft, aka Mr. Irrelevant. All Purdy did in his first career start was lead San Fran to a 35-7 blowout win over Tom Brady and the visiting Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Purdy went on to win all 5 of his regular season starts, completing 67.1% of his pass attempts on the year for 1,374 yards, 13 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions. Garoppolo's injury was supposed to put a dent in the 49ers Super Bowl hopes. Instead, the 49ers went on a roll and could not be beaten with Mr. Relevant under center. And now Purdy looks like someone who could end up being the Niners' long-term starter going forward. It is a storyline that absolutely no one could have predicted before the start of the season. But what other big surprises in the 2022 NFL?
I ain't gonna front. The whole thing with Brock Purdy was like one of those feel-good stories. Like you get drafted last in the draft, and then you lead your team to not only a division title, but to the NFC title game where he didn't really have a chance to play. Healthy, at least, you know. Hopefully it's not a ref with that Tommy John surgery that's right around the way. But there was a lot of shockers there, bro. Jacksonville winning the division. I didn't see coming. Josh Jacobs, 5th-year option, ends up leading the league in the NFL. I didn't see that coming. Giants still making it to the playoffs. Green Bay not making it to the playoffs. Detroit finishing 2nd in the division. There was a lot of some wacky situations that happened last year, bro. Overall, it's a good season, bro. Overall, it's a good season, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I rock with you if you rock with me, man. Subscribe is the vibes. Your boy got bows. Check you guys out in the next video, man. Mamba out.